We'll do a couple variations of heavy. Do a little bit heavy, and then significantly heavy. We'll start with a little bit heavy. I have a weird theory that if you tie a heavy fly, it should be darker. I haven't had great experience with like white, light colors, weighted streamers. But I have had luck with like olives and blacks in weighted streamer flies for bass. And cold water, 50 degrees. It's sometimes the only way you can catch them. So I'm thinking our first one is going to be a little bit heavy, and we'll use tungsten. 4 mil, two of them, 8 mil. 8 mil tungsten we'll try. So let's get some beads going. Yeah, these are 4. Let's see the slots. I use narrow slots, the slots that don't fit on the hooks. Sometimes you get these weird narrow beads, yeah. And so I'll use them to tie these kinds of flies, and then we'll tie the beads on the bottom, or rather the top, and the hook will ride. Ideally, the hook will ride hook point up. The fly will ride hook point up. Ideally, not always. In terms of placement, putting them toward the head gives you a real jiggy. I like to place them more toward the middle or even toward the back. It gives you a little bit better action. So let's go ahead and tie them in. I think I'm just going to use some heavy mono, if I can find it. And then we'll try to keep this simple, worm style fly. I keep using this pink thread. I'm a little bit too lazy to change the thread. The thread for this doesn't really matter. So pink it is. Turn that off. Let's check. Yeah, good. This is 50. It's pretty heavy mono. So we'll tie it in on top. You can, if you want it, if you're concerned about it sitting flat, you could squeeze it, flatten it out with a needle nose if you wanted to. But we'll glue it, it'll stay. Uh-oh. Dropped one in my messy drawer. Hopefully we can find it again. Where'd you go? There it is. Just thread them on there. There's one. And then that's 2. And we want them to sit kind of side by side. Some people do like a belly, and it gives you like a shake. I don't. I haven't had too much luck with that, so I'm just gonna tie them in flat. But I want that mono sitting right on top, like that. And then we can throw in a A couple wraps in the middle. You can throw in a couple wraps on the side. Trim that out. Then we'll give it a little bit of glues. Let's go on this underside, hit the side. And that will lock it in. That will lock it in. The tie itself, we'll try to keep it simple with just like a zonker strip. We could use that bling, the olive bling, but I don't have anything in black, so we need something in black. If you wanted to get fancy, you could try to do the zonker over, or you could do like this. We want it to ride hook point up. But I'm gonna start the tie-in point behind the weight. So we'll go ahead, we'll tie it in, and then maybe we try to pierce it through. We should undo that first. Okay. Pierced it through. And then we'll just put it back in. Oh my God. And we'll tie this in. We don't need this end here. Trim that out. And how long you want this, baby? I don't think it needs to be that long. So let's notch it. I think that's a good size. Notch it out. And then give it a yank. Right there. For the body, I'm gonna do a mono dubbing loop. We'll take this monofilament, and then we'll make a little material loop. And put a couple wraps around the loop to lock it in. colors, colors. We'll do a little bit of purple flash, and then we'll take the little tab of rabbit, we'll knock some of that off. And we've got a little spare patch of fox, we'll use some of that. And then I'm gonna pull those guard hairs out of the fox. So we got a little black, a little lavender, and then here's some black and blue wool we used for a different fly. We'll recycle that in there. Mix that up. Yeah, that's good. That should be good. Here's a little more of that wool. We don't want to make it too material heavy because the purpose of this is that it sinks. If you dump a lot of material in there, it won't sink as well. The zonker strip is already quite material heavy. All right, finished. Let's get our loop going. We have our looping tool, which is just a bent up paper clip. Slide that in, we'll get a little wax, and then we touch, just touch. We don't run, we just touch. And now we get our dub and blend, and we place it in the loop. Light, not too heavy. And then we close up the loop. We should get it closer to the end there. Spread it out. Then we twist. Twist, 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 twist. And then the mono furls on itself, so you know it's done. Before we wrap, I'm gonna pick pick. This is good use of the rotary. We can spin up the material. You're gonna need to get around those beads. Just one wrap around the beads. And then this is getting wrapped up, so we'll unwind that. And we'll finish her off by hand. lock that in, 2 wraps. Oh, it slipped. I should wrap with my right hand. There we go. Clip that out. Lock it out. Pick it out. The more you pick, the better it'll be. Remove excess. And then swoop it back so that some of that flash incorporates into the tail if you can get it that far. This is like a worm style fly. Eyes, it doesn't need eyes, but the head, I'm gonna add them, but you don't need them, I don't think. I'm gonna add them because I want to reinforce the head with some glue. So we're gonna add some eyeballs. Cinch that down. Snip it out. Pick some eyes. A little red. Red eyes would be good. Eyes on the left hand. And glue with the right. One big dollop. Set. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm not reading these comments. Jet Lag Gamer said hi. Hello, Jet Lag. The tool you cut, this tool is called a bobbin that holds the thread. Yeah. Why not just use a doubling loop versus a separate loop? The mono gives you more tension. You could do thread, you absolutely could do thread, but the mono loop gives you more tension. Those are good questions. It's preference, it's personal preference. There's no function. Just personal preference. I like the tension. Most of the trout flies I do a split thread loop, but the bigger patterns, bigger minnow patterns and bass patterns, I do the mono loop. All right, that's it. Maybe we do a little drop here and a little drop there. And then we gotta clean that up. And we're done. So that's one heavy fly. Fishing this, you like stripping average, you get maybe like 7 feet deep, 10 feet deep. If you have like a sink tip, um, you so how I fish this kind of pattern would be on with rock structure, like a bluff wall. You cast it along the bluff wall, you let it sink down, you strip a couple times, and you let it sink again, and then you're done. It's a very inefficient way to fish. You don't cover a lot of ground, and it's not my favorite way to fish. It definitely is not. You're kind of sitting in one place for a long time. You're casting again and again. The the fly is only in the strike zone for a quarter of the time the fly's in the water. But sometimes it's necessary. The only way you can get them. And again, I've had better luck with darker colors rather than like a white zonker strip with ice dub head. Generally doesn't work for me. The blacks and the olives are better for me for this style of heavy fly. So we will now do one that's even heavier. And we're gonna use this 1/8 ounce drop shot weight. I'm gonna take off this ring, and then I'm gonna flatten the weight on the sides. The front I'll flatten out, and then the back I'll flatten out. And this pattern I developed when I was actually fishing for flounder in the ocean. And the technique is called dredging. So you have a full sink line. The fly is so heavy, you can barely cast it. You cast 50 feet of line out. That line is at the end of the sink is basically going to be directly under your boat. And then you're stripping up, you're letting it sink down again, you're stripping up, you're letting it sink down again, and you use the current to cover water. And it's an effective technique. Again, not very fun to me. So I try not to, I'd much prefer to fish another method. But if you're trying to catch a flounder or halibut or rockfish, that's where they live. They live on the bottom. And sometimes the bass are on the bottom too, so you gotta dredge. The hook for this we'll use, we need a bigger hook. A bigger hook. And I was debating what kind of pattern to tie. I was debating what kind of pattern to tie. Like a crawfish. But I think the most effective is going to be a worm style fly. So let's check. I think I might need to flatten this a little bit more. Yeah, I'm gonna need to bring that one end is riding a little high. I'm trying to bring it down a bit. These drop shot weights are pretty malleable, which is a good thing. But we're getting in the realm of like not even fly fishing now. This is more like lure fishing with a fly rod. Okay. And you're gonna need to glue it. Let that set well. Let's go back over it. I guess you could split the drop shot weight in half. Maybe that'd be more, yeah, you could cut the drop shot weight in half and then kind of manipulate it that way. You wouldn't need to put a whole like 1/8 ounce on there. That's a good, yeah. But it's already solid. You can't rotate it. It's on there pretty well. But what to tie? That's the real question. What the heck are we tying here? If I do another mono loop worm pattern, I think you guys might get sick of that. So let's try to think of something different here. Kind of at a loss. But I'm thinking craw. Yeah, I'm thinking craw. Do the craw. We'll do the craw with bucktail pinchers. We need dark bucktail. I don't have any black bucktail right now. So we might have to use the back side of this olive. It's pretty dark. The zonker strip pincher, I don't really like it, but it's simple. I wish I had a box I could look at what I did last time. Yeah, it's gonna have to be hair. Gonna have to be hair. Okay. We'll cut out a clump of hair. Let's even the tips a bit. They don't have to be perfect, but let's get them a little bit. And then we're going to joint. We're going to joint the hair. How we do that is we're going to pinch where you want the joint. Take your bobbin, another bobbin, put the thread in between your thumb and the hair so it's sitting in place, and then holding it with two hands, you're going to wrap it like so. And then you don't need a ton of wraps. What you do need is to make sure you secured the tag once you think the tack is secure, you could finger whip or glue or both. So let's finger whip once, and then I'll show you. I want the claw to have a bend. So I'm going to clip, and I guess pinch first. Pinch, and then clip, and then glue. Just so they're not, the arms aren't, going a little bit of bend, a little bit of kink in the bow. Our knot has already come undone. That's okay. Glue's on there now. Just hold it there. We'll get another one. We're gonna need a rubber on this jig. We're making a jig. That's what we're making. Even the tips. Give it a pinch. Give it a wrap. Ooh. A slow troll. I'm not very good at slow troll. I'm not the best slow troller. But a slow troll would do well. Polar chenille, I like polar chenille. But I don't love it. Oh, we need another clip. I'll clip the bow. And then we'll glue. Let's check the one we did. It doesn't have much of a bend right now. Let's get it back. And the clip. This clip isn't very strong. It's getting old. Let's check this one. This one's better. The tag. Measure the length here. A little bit longer. Get the other one. Measure it out. Oh, this side is rolling a bit. I'm gonna put a drop on each. Secure it in. All right, that's good. We need some kind of antenna. Antenna type situations. A couple pieces of crystal flash, I think. And then round rubber layer. This is a colored crystal flash. That might be good. Two pieces oversized. These are just gonna get fouled up and okay. We will do polar chenille. We will do polar chenille. Round rubber and then some polar chenille, I think. And then I think no more. Here's dark brown round rubber. 2 on each side, 1 on each side. Yeah. Oversize them. I'm gonna tie them in individually just because it's easier. And kind of crossing them to make sure they're sticking out. The crystal flash is going straight, but the round rubber is kind of at an angle. All right. And those will get trimmed down, I think. Polar chenille. So this is a synthetic, this is like super polar chenille, but I don't want it that long. So I'm going to take a section, or maybe I just do it myself. Let's see if we can find actual portion. Here's a cactus chenille. That doesn't look good. Yep, we're going with this plan right here. Let's take a section. And then it's about 2 inches. I want an inch. It doesn't have to be exactly uniform. That's pretty uniform. We'll try that to begin with. See how far that gets us. And then we'll tie it in. Yeah, the pink thread might have been a mistake. I'm not gonna, I guess I have to wrap the whole body. Let's do a tie-in point. And we're gonna definitely need more. Chop the whole thing off. We'll try to do something with that extra material so we don't waste it in the future tie. Okay, now we wrap. I'm gonna put just glue on one side just a touch to kind of help it bind. We wrap. We wrap. We wrap. It's too long. We should have cut it shorter. It's way too long. We'll see if we can save this. We might give up soon. Just touch that pink to hide it. Okay, let's see what we're working with here. We're gonna need to trim this out. So I'm trying to get a taper. Just eyeballing this. different material for the legs also. The legs are not, or maybe heavier material for the legs. It's got a little shape, not great. A little bit better. Alright, I'm not gonna mess with this anymore. I mean, in the water, those arms are just gonna kind of clump together. What? Is it heavy enough? Yes. Does it look good? No. I'm over it. I'm over it. All right, we're done. I think the first one turned out well. This one is definitely. I should have done just a piece of zonker strip and then this body material, and that would have been fine. But we had to try to do like a crawfish thing. Anyway, thanks for watching. That's what we got. Our crawfishy. More rubber. Definitely needs more rubber. I mean, I think it would work. Maybe not too bad. It's a little, the body's, I think, a little bit shiny. So, touching up the back, make it a little bit darker, and touching up the claw. That helps it a little bit. All right. Finito, finito. I'm gonna flip it. And I'm gonna end it. Oh, throw that shallow water for bass, and I think they'll pick it up. Yeah, buddy. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. That's what I'm thinking. Picking it up. It needs work. Definitely needs work. All right. Hope you guys all have a good day, and I'll see you next time.